Welcome to Lesson 2 of Ready to Fly. In this lesson, you will learn how to use the Fox system to enter evaluation data on ISS crew performance for any initial training sessions that you deliver or supervise. Initial training sessions are where your system's content is first introduced to the crew, and tracking the completion of that training and specifying what is taught is part of the daily job of a core systems instructor. In particular, you will learn how to navigate to crew members' lessons in Fox, and you will be introduced to the Student Performance Summary form that should be filled out for any initial training session provided to ISS crew members. Each crew member will go through extensive initial training, and this is part of your job to record all of that information. So, what are we going to look at today? Well, our goal in this module is that you should walk away with 4 capabilities. 1. Be able to navigate in Fox to the designated ISS crew members training program. 2. Use Fox to get to an initial training event within that program. 3. Access the Student Performance Summary form for those initial training events. And 4. Be able to fill out those forms correctly. All of that is in support of covering all these initial training events. Initial training events often occur before an ISS crew member is actually assigned to an expedition to ISS, say either in the astronaut candidate instruction timeframe or in pre-assignment training. For some systems, however, particularly ones that continue to evolve more dynamically, initial training can even be reserved until as late as after you get assigned. There are a multitude of lesson types given to ISS crew in all of these periods. However, initial training events typically fall into 3 broad categories: group intro lessons, single system lessons, and the part task trainer lessons. These will typically be the 3 lesson types that provide the initial grounding on how a specific core system operates, and the ISS crew will use these lessons to begin to understand how the ISS systems each operate. Each ISS crew member will complete training programs to learn about how to interact with ISS systems, such as the thermal control system, the command and data handling system, motion control, etc. However, the ISS architecture is not static, and the systems and their associated operations tend to evolve over time. These records that you are going to do help to confirm exactly what coursework a specific ISS crew member has taken, and it is also a training record of what specific objectives were covered in a given class at a given time. As a reminder, to access crew training programs and associated data in Fox, please use Chrome or Firefox instead of Internet Explorer, and please remember that the Fox production site is where actual crew programs and data are stored. Now, say that you have completed delivery of a class, an initial training class to an ISS crew member. Typically, you won't have to search through his or her training program extensively. What actually happens is that, as instructor of record, the evaluation form will come to you via Fox. In Fox, click on Evaluations on your left-hand navigation bar, and it will populate with all the outstanding evaluations for lessons that you are responsible for. Again, each of these will get you to a specific lesson. For the specific lesson that you care about, say for example here, the pre-assignment C&T voicemail, if you click on that little icon highlighted in red, that will lead you to a summary form. Now that Student Performance Summary form, the objective and the focus of this form is whether the learning objectives for a particular lesson were completed or not. If particular objectives could not be accomplished due to facility issues or otherwise, it's useful to note what will be needed as makeup in later sessions. Also, if a student had issues with a particular objective, that can be noted as well. So, some typical notations you might make is, did they have difficulty passing a particular objective? Do you think they need some additional training? Not covered if, for example, the facility failed and you were not able to actually accomplish that particular objective. These are all things that are useful to note. At the top, the Student Performance Summary also asks questions about how much time was used or needed for these initial lessons. This data is not captured for performance purposes, rather it's used to assess how well the class is meeting crew member needs. All this data can be aggregated with other sessions of the same class and see if a class is consistently running short, for example. Also, this is a way to document any time lost due to facility issues. In these situations, you as a core systems instructor will work with your increment training integrator to schedule any new Delta training event or add time to existing scheduled events so that you can make up for things like this lost time. The expectation in Flight Operations Directorate is that you should complete the Student Performance Summary forms for ISS crew members within a few days of the event. This is driven by the fact that many lessons are flagged as prerequisites for later classes, and until this form is filled out, the Fox system will not recognize the class as complete. This will in turn lead to flags in the system for the later classes that this thing is a prerequisite for, and that's going to be a bit of a burden on the scheduling team. They are going to have to understand what's going on. Also, it's highly recommended, although not mandatory, that you provide some comments in the forum on overall thoughts about student performance. In sum, for any initial training for your system, it is your responsibility to access your pending evaluations, and for those initial training classes, you will need to fill out that student performance summary form for each using the guidelines that we provided here today. Next, in Lesson 3, we will look at the capstones of the single system flow, the forms used in mastery and assessment lessons.